Operation Journey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Operation Journey. I'm your host, Cody, and today we got a special guest. It's one of your hosts, Devin McKenna. What's going on, buddy?
What is up? What is going on tonight?
Oof.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm really excited to do this.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, man. I'm feeling really great. We launched our first episode. What I know. Yes. What a huge like weight off of our shoulders, man. Like, I know you were nervous. I was nervous. It was just really like, it was intense. You know what I mean?
It was nice though. It was cool.
It was. Yeah. I feel so good about it, man. Everyone really liked it. Got some really good feedback as you did. And it was just really great, man. Really great stuff.
That's awesome. Well, tonight is you. Tonight is all about you.
It's gonna be a real short one. Hey, I'm Devin.
Yeah, man. I think, I think the message got out there clear. We've done a few online, going live on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And just some good feedback, man. I've been enjoying every minute of it.
Me too, man. Me too. I'm just eating it up. Not gonna lie. I
Just
want to get a big head, but it's just really, you know what it is, man. Like, we worked really hard on the preparation for all this, and we put a lot of time in it. And to see the initial creation of it is just like, it's like gold. You know what I mean?
It's mind blowing, man.
It is, man. It is.
Every day we're going on here at like 9:00 at night trying to figure out different ways we could go live and different ways you could up our game. So it's awesome, man. It's fun. Definitely like a lot more goes into it.
It's literally, this is what you see, what you hear. This is us every night trying to get it all together.
Exactly.
Make it good for you guys.
Yeah, man. So first and foremost, man, I want to know, what's your take from this? We talked about my take, where my head was at with this whole podcast, but I want to hear it from the mastermind's brain, man. Tell me all about it.
Oh my God, man. Wow. Where do I begin? So I was outside one day during this COVID thing. Obviously, you had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to, generate a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, too much. I'm outside one day with my beautiful wife, and we are sitting in the driveway talking to our neighbor. That was the COVID hangout time. We sat outside with the neighbor. Our neighbor, Julie, she has 2 kids, Nolan and Shelby. Shelby is in 8th grade. This whole thing started with her, Shelby. So we're sitting out there and we're talking, and she's basically, I'm asking her about school and stuff like that, like what's going on with COVID and how this whole thing's going to play out with the school year and, people graduating and all that other stuff. So she starts talking to me about, what she's done so far with school with this whole COVID thing is basically they're trying to get her to plan out classes. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. What kind of stuff, what are they doing? And I swear to you, dude, strike me dead if I'm lying, God. She told me that they're expecting her in 8th grade, okay, to figure out basically what she wants to do with the rest of her life.
Not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's insane. So I'm not even kidding. So they're trying to set up her high school classes so she can basically like streamline into the profession that she wants to do when she's in college.
That's rough, man. That's a lot of pressure on a
I'm like,
8th grader.
She's in 8th grade. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, ask me what I wanted to do when I was in 8th grade. I wanted to skateboard. I want to be a professional skateboarder.
We are going to ask you. What
Yes. It just blew my mind, dude. Completely beside myself. And I felt so bad. I was just like, how could you ask an 8th grader what they're going to do with the rest of their lives? You can't do that, I
still don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's insane, man. So, I started thinking about it. I'm like, how do you get the nitty gritty, cut straight, dry details of what it takes to do in every single profession that's available?
So just kind of open up the field, just knowledge about how to do something.
Exactly.
Or anything.
Exactly. That's why
Awesome.
I like that. The whole idea with the podcast, I'm like, first I thought YouTube, obviously, because
everybody goes on YouTube.
Exactly. And then I'm thinking like podcast. I don't know if I want to be seen. Maybe I just want to talk, like we'll talk about the mayor.
We're going to talk about the mayor.
So, I just thought about it. I'm just like, how do I get this information out? How do I do this? How do I help the kids? Is really what the whole initial thing was about. Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, it doesn't just have to be about kids either. Because there's people that, you know, you and me, we're in our 30s and I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Yeah. You know, we've made some life decisions at this point, but it's nothing permanent, you know, and maybe we take a turn to do something different. So why not try and get that?
Yeah. But that's a thing that you like, you know, 20 years ago when you asked your parents, you know, what was their path, or, you know, for me, not so much, but, you know, some parents, you'd be like, hey, you know, how did you get to where you're going? And did you stay there for 20 years? You know, that's a normal thing, you know, back in the day. These days, it's kind of like you could do whatever the hell you want, you know what I mean? Which is cool, but it's scary at the same time, right?
It is. It's a lot of open-ended, you know what I mean? It's a lot of open-ended moves that you can make that, you know, I feel like today's age is aimed at one thing. Retire as young as you can with the most amount of money you can, right? Exactly. It's like, how do you retire before 40?
That sounds like my plan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That'd be great. You know, stay home, be a dad all day. Like, okay, you know, that's my full-time position is just being a dad and living on my retirement. Yeah, of course. That's the American dream.
Except for when he poops on the floor. Then that's a whole different story.
Except for when he poops on the floor.
And I'm making life decisions like, God,
maybe I need to go back to work.
Exactly.
That's funny, man. Yeah. So that's where it all started, man. And that I just, like, you know, I was saying yesterday on the live cast, on the live episode for Facebook, I was just, you know, I keep going year 1.5. It's just like a whatever number. Like, I feel like it's a good amount of time into this where I feel like we're going to be stable. We'll, you know, hopefully at that point we'll have some sort of, you know, revenue coming in where we can really make a dent. I would love to put a kid that needs it in a better place. You know what I mean? Like the whole basis for this is just to advance the youth. And if we can personally do that, we won.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's not only like money. It's not all about that. It's all about knowledge too, man. I think, like I said in my podcast, my episode was just, if I knew more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you know, a family, you know, older brother figure or parent figure. It's more of just knowledge. Like, you know, how to become a hockey player? How do I become a movie star? You know, so stuff like that. That's man. I'm super stoked with it. I'm super happy with where it's going and stuff.
Absolutely, man. I'm not a reader. I don't read. The initial itch for me to listen to podcasts was I started listening to Audible.
Nice.
Right? So like when we grew up, we didn't have anything like that. There was nothing like that, you know.
I couldn't read then anyway, so.
Yeah. I still can't read. No, I'm just kidding. But I started listening to Audible a lot. I was ripping through books. I probably read and I say read, but I didn't read them. Obviously. I listened to, I would say like a solid 10 books and maybe in like a 3-week time span.
Damn.
Just cranking them out, dude.
There you go.
You know, it was amazing. And it was just nice to like listen to somebody talk. Then I started listening to podcasts, Joe Rogan, Morbid Podcast. This is a couple others that I listen to, but, and that's where it all kind of tied in. I was like, this is what we need to do. This is it. And you were like, dude, I'm on board. Let's go. I'm like, yes. What a better tag team, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think we've been tag teaming for a couple of years now. So
just a couple, just, you know, a handful. Maybe like
it's a handful.
Million.
Speaking of that, man, let's bring it back to that. How about that?
You want to go back there?
Dude, I want to go down to the gritty. Let's go hospital room, whatever time you were born.
So
how much you weighed.
My mom and dad met at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Wantagh. And here I am. So that was a pretty cool time.
9 pounds, 7 ounces.
I have no idea.
It's the cheeseburger, not the bacon.
I was born, I think at 3:29 p.m., April 11th, 1988, the year of our Lord.
Of the mayor? Year of the mayor?
Yeah, man.
So where were you born, man? Let's talk about it. Let's get down to it.
So I was born in East Meadow, Nassau Community Medical Center, which we have visited several times, which we will talk about later on. But
where's the old East Meadow? Where's that state-wise?
That's New York, Long Island. Nice. Born and raised in Belmore, New York, is where I was born, or where I was raised. Born in East Meadow, just about a 10-minute drive. Oh yeah, spent a lot of time around there.
Oh yeah,
lived across the street from a big supermarket, which was awesome.
Which dented my vehicle when I got a $1,500 check.
Yeah, they
not
paid
even lying.
Handsomely. They paid you handsomely.
Yeah, man.
I worked there actually for about 7 hours.
Sounds about right.
Kidding. Yeah, I got a job there. I was Stop and Shop at the time. It went from it transitioned 3 times, like 3 different supermarkets. But yeah, I got a job there for like 7 hours. I showed up. It was a night shift, stocking shelves.
There you
I
go.
worked literally for, I don't even think it was 7 hours. I was there probably maybe 2.5, 3 hours. And they were like, all right, cool, break. And I'm like, all right, awesome. And I just went home. I didn't go home. I didn't go
Across
back.
the
I literally walked across the street to my house and went to sleep. I was like, that was a fun job.
We call him Sleepy Devin.
Yeah.
Because once he did sleep, you could never wake him up.
That was bad.
But was that so the little across the street 7-hour job, was that first job? What was that?
No, absolutely not. That was oh my God, probably like job 7 at that point. I might have ran through. So I started my mother, my dear mother.
Let's talk about her. Let's talk about mom.
She started working at this car wash. She used to deliver newspapers. It's funny when you said that it's not funny, but when your cousin ran your legs over with your car.
It was great. It was actually hilarious.
So my mother used to deliver newspapers way back in the day. And my brother actually fell off the back of her wagon trying to throw papers out.
The wagon.
Funny. I thought about that when you said that. I was like, oh my God, my brother did that. But so my mom and dad, they were together obviously for me and my brother. And shortly after I was born, about 5-6 years into the life of myself, they decided that they were going to get a divorce. So that's where it all began. Everything that I am today is from that moment. Man. I never recalled a time my mother and father sleeping in the same bed. I do not have a memory of them being together. So everything that I am and that you'll hear tonight started right here. So
nice.
About 5-6 years old.
Point.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough. I thank God every day that my brother is who he is.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. We'll have to talk about him too. He's,
we'll definitely get into
motivational person there.
100%. Which, he was always a straight shooter, man. He no drugs, no alcohol, ever. He's straight edge like you,
I love that
through
guy.
and through, down to the core, man. He's just not about it. But honestly, it created a very a good aura for me, coming up around him, not having that around, I am thankful that my parents were never into drugs or alcohol. That was never a factor. My dad worked really hard. My mom worked really hard. They didn't, they just didn't dabble in it. Yeah. Thankfully, and I pray, thank God for that every day,
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is a weird thing how I turned out because there was no influence of anything at all.
Fast forward today, and
here I am drinking some scotch. I don't know why. I don't know. It's weird.
I know. I mean, even when we were growing up together, you only smoked cigarettes. I mean, that was one of the. We spoke about it on my podcast, but our group of friends was, I don't think really anybody, like people drank, but it was like they would go in their own little thing and do it and then come back. And, I never felt like we ever had any push for that,
No, not at all. No. I mean, I had my times. This is like way before we even met, which is we're going back, but
about 40 pounds more.
Yeah, like 100 pounds. But I'm getting off track. So my mother and my father,
back to the family here.
Yeah, they decided to split. My father lived in my house on and off for a good while.
How was that?
Honestly, it made it pretty tough. I feel like if there was just an instant disconnect and it was like, hey, we go our separate ways, it probably would have been better off. There was a lot of arguing. There shouldn't have been because obviously they were in the midst of a divorce. But I think that my father wanted to stay, just obviously to be around us as much as he could. Financially, I'm sure it was a factor at the time. We did not have money. There was no, we came up. I came up. I mean, my brother was raised in a little bit of a different atmosphere, obviously, because they were together. Yeah. As my oldest memory, I'd never seen them be a wife and a husband. So once the divorce had started, things got shaky economically. My dad, totally. I know, was, busting his ass. My mom was doing the best she could. And I thank them for that.
Yeah.
My father was working at UPS, which is it was funny you say what you were saying earlier. My father worked for UPS for like 12 years or something like that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And it just, I think he quit, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he wasn't laid off. But he left. It was over. Like, he was a UPS guy. Like, he wasn't delivering packages.
I'm done with this mail.
Dude, my dad would, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to come home and it was late. And I would walk into his room and he just had these papers sprawled out all over his bed. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on in here? And,
those are today's emails.
Yeah, seriously, dude. I remember he used to carry his briefcase with him and he'd go to work, and he was management at some level. I don't remember all the details of it, but he worked his ass off.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know him personally myself too, and that man puts the work in.
Really does, man.
Yeah,
really does.
Back to the house situation, though.
Yes.
Like for me, like I didn't have that. I had a grandmother, not really anybody coming out, but just talk about a little bit more of just like the dynamic, man, like anger, all that good stuff.
So my dad and my mom would fight about money, mostly. Obviously, it's always the starting. And it was just, they would just go at it, man. They would just yell and scream at each other, and it was horrible. There was no escape at this point. Again, at this point in my life, I'm young. I don't know what's going on, So I instinctively, I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And I kind of blame, obviously, young kid. I don't know any better. Now I understand, but at the time, I thought it was my fault.
Yeah,
we all did. If anything went wrong, you always felt guilty about something. So, I didn't know I don't know what to do. So I just did. I just lived. I kind of just like grabbed my brother's pocket and I'm just like, yo, let's go wherever you're going, kind of thing. And my brother, he saved me, man. He really did. He
totally. There
was no hiccup. My brother took me under his wing, and I was with him 24/7. Doing everything he did.
Kind of like he had to, he had to grow up pretty fast.
He did. He absolutely did. He really did. Yeah, there. Absolutely. He and I think that honestly, he can probably attest to it. That is a big reason why he is the way he is because he kind of raised me from the ground up with a lot of stuff. I didn't know anything really. And my father working gone. He, eventually he had left the house for short amounts of time or whatever. My mother had left at one point. So me and my brother we just wrote it out, and he, up until he was about 18, my brother's 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I'm about 12 years old. This is where I kind of like flew the coop a little bit. I started kind of like doing my own thing, my brother, obviously, and I understand now why. At the time I'm like, no, I want to go, my brother's out riding BMX and like doing all stuff with his friends, and he's 18, whatever.
Leave this 12-year-old at home, man.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to cramp his style back in, what was that, 2000?
Yeah, exactly.
2000, I think. Yeah, 99, I think.
Jesus.
But yeah. So,
What did you find, was a trait that your brother kind of like handed down to you while this is going on? Like you're watching this older brother of yours, pal around a 12-year-old, and pretty much, brought you up from ground zero to now, so, did some of those traits come into you and, find yourself as you got older?
I do actually. It's like my best and worst trait. I think I just care too much sometimes. You know what I mean? I think honestly, it's great because I have the need and the want to help people.
Totally.
And
here we are.
I really do have a fire in my belly for really trying to help everyone that I can, man. And I think that honestly probably is my biggest takeaway from it. Is like, it doesn't matter the situation. If you can put your hands in there to help, then do so. You know what I mean?
Totally, that's awesome.
But at the same time, it kind of kills me because I get caught up. Like, I have a family now, and obviously I obviously try and put my family first for anything. But I do have to catch myself, and I'm like, I have this going on. I can't just do this. Like,
Exactly.
random stuff, you know what I mean? But,
Fixing cars and all that stuff.
Yeah. Scheduling. It's a lot of scheduling issues that I run into. My wife, Erica, will be like, oh, we're going to go do this. I'm like, all right, cool. And like 3 days later, I'm like, yo, dude, come over. Let's work on your car.
Yeah.
Erica's like, what's this?
You forgot about the schedule, Devin.
Yeah,
you forgot about the schedule.
We're supposed to go to the zoo today. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
About that zoo.
But he said he needed help on his car, babe. I'm sorry, like, totally. It's just one of those things. But I can safely say that's probably it.
That's it's a good trait to get. Some people listening, some people in different situations, get rolled up into an anger tussle. My parents did this, the parents did that, my brother's doing this, and just came out of that situation not as level-headed
right.
as you. So, it's cool to see that, you could come from nothing, quote unquote, and then, push yourself to where you are today. So it's awesome, man. It's really cool to see.
Thank you. Yeah, man. It's definitely, it was tough. The fighting, it was scary. It was more than anything. It was just scary.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Thankfully my brother, used to taught me how to ride bikes. He, played a lot of baseball when I was young. I was on a lot of like PAL leagues and a lot of community stuff.
Yeah.
And my brother used to take me to the games. He was actually an umpire, I think, for one season. He played baseball himself. And my dad and my mom were, back and forth at this point, kind of. My dad would come to some of the games, mom would come to some of the games.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they just ditched out and I never saw them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
My mother was home when she was home, and she worked up the street, thankfully. So after the divorce had begun, my mother actually, she had to get a job or whatever. She had to, be that, supporter if she could.
Yep.
Luckily,
that figure.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, my grandfather, who owned my house, who bought the house originally, had paid it off. So there was no mortgage on my house, thank God. So my mother essentially just had to work to pay the utilities and the taxes.
There you go.
The house. So that was a huge plus. They bought my house. My grandfather bought my house, I think in like 1960 something. I think he paid under $100,000 for it in Long Island, New York. Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. There was
You're not going to find anything for that.
No. Where the supermarket was, and then right next door is a large police unit storage facility. Is a massive, huge warehouse full of police cars.
Perfect, it was for our asses to be at.
Yeah. It was perfect. It was onion fields or potato fields or something. When my grandfather bought that house, it was nothing but fields. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember seeing pictures. It was wild.
So your mom, I remember your mom working down the street because I would go there and get my car washed all the time.
Yeah. So we're talking, what has it been? I think my mom has been there for 20 years.
Jeez Louise. Couple different owners now, right?
No, same owners. Same
owner?
ones. Yeah. They had a couple different managers roll through, but the owners who had originally opened the car wash, I think it was 99 or 2000. They still own it to this day. Larry Rush.
Larry. So where were you during this time? So you obviously school.
Yes.
Up until you didn't go anymore like I did.
Yeah.
But
there was school at one point.
Yeah, there was. Let's talk about school a little bit. So where did you go like middle school?
So I went to Grand Avenue Middle School from 2001 to 2002, 7th and 8th grade middle school in New York. K through 6, I went to Newbridge Road Middle School, graduated in 2000 from Newbridge Road Elementary School. I was a class speaker when we graduated. No big deal.
The mayor is here, everybody. Listen, the mayor's here.
We sang the Vitamin C graduation song. That was fun. Yeah. So
how was school, man? Were you, like we spoke about me, but I wasn't into school. I wasn't really into it. But what about you?
The first time I ever cut a class was in middle school, which is kind of crazy because that didn't happen then. Senior or high school were the days of cutting class. I actually cut a class in middle school.
Oh Oh my God.
It was the longest walk home I've ever taken because it was so far from my house. By the time I got home, I think I would have been out of school and taken the bus home already. It was horrible.
Perfect.
When I was in school, I actually did well. I don't know why. I just did. I can't explain it. It just happened. And it was up until high school. So I went to Mepham High School in Belmore, Belmore Merrick School District, Calhoun, Kennedy, and Mepham. And yeah, it was 2002. I got in there as a freshman. This is kind of where, this is the point of my life where I could say I took a drastic turn. I can honestly say that. So,
what do you mean by that?
So this is where I really started to blossom into my own person. Like when I was going through middle school, I was still kind of with my brother. I hung out with my neighbors a lot. My neighbor Chris and his cousin Michael, who owns 99 Music Room.
Yep, there it is.
Editors, good people. I grew up with them. A lot of the time that I spent when I was younger was honestly at their house with my brother. We'd play basketball. We'd trade Pokemon cards, all the stupid stuff. But
Pokemon cards, man.
Yeah, Mike taught me how to play my first song on guitar. My first, it was oh my God, Radio by what the hell is the name of that band? Started with an A.
Atreyu.
No, not Atreyu. I almost said Atreyu. It was anyway. It doesn't matter. The song's called Radio, but it's very simple. But he taught me that song on my guitar when I was young. But I spent a lot of time with them. So I was always kind of covered by an older group of people, and they were watching out for me. And ended up going to California with them. For their cousin's wedding when I was 13. I was on a plane by myself. My dad was late to the oh my God. My dad was late. Obviously my dad is never on time for anything, but late to get me to the airport, and he
must run in the blood.
I know, yeah, I gotta put something into my DNA. It's not my fault, it's my DNA. My dad was ripping this lady apart at the desk trying to get me on this plane because we were running late. And she's like, "Sir, I'm sorry, you can't just bring your son here and expect us to take care of him." And my dad's like, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? 8 minutes, it's 8 minutes."
I could see your dad doing that too.
And I'm just like, "Oh my God, dude, just please can we go home?" But yeah, that was that was the first time I saw my dad during daylight hours, and I don't even know how long, but
and he was screaming.
Yeah, it was just bloody, sweating profusely. It was just bad setup. Anyway, I ended up getting on the plane. I ended up going to California. It was the coolest thing I ever did when I was younger. Went to the Redwood Forest in San Francisco. I slept on somebody's floor in their apartment. It was awesome, dude.
There you go.
It was a wild experience for a 13-year-old. I might have even been younger than that. I might have even been 12. I don't even know. But anyway, so we get into middle school. This is where I kind of start, feeling out myself, as a human, what do I like to do and whatever. And, and then I get into high school. I had to go.
Then that's where it all began.
Yeah. This is where I kind of take the turn. So, I started learning how to skateboard, or trying to learn how to skateboard. I found a cool group of people, from Wantos, Stan and Tom and Ron, I just hang out with those guys. And I did a lot of skateboarding. A lot of skateboarding led to a lot of extracurricular activities. We did a lot of stuff. It just goes with hand in hand. What I mean? You're a skateboarder. I'm risking my life on a skateboard, skating around New York. And then I'm going to the woods drinking. You know what I mean? And lighting bonfires with my friends.
But that's what you did in Long Island, you know what I mean? You skateboarded, and the group that you're in, you're either I remember it was Preps and what was the other one? What were we? Skater boys?
Jocks. We were emo. We were emo guys.
Emo kids, yeah.
Yeah. With girl pants. And
there was definitely some girl pants running around there.
Oh, dude, no question. All the girl pants.
So this is during high school, right? So
yeah.
Is this first year? Is this freshman in high school?
Yes, we are talking freshman year high school. Instantly realizing I'm going nowhere fast. Nice. It was a big smack to the face at some point in my life where I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? But honestly, probably right around the time that I met you, I'm like, something's got to change. So
coincidence.
This
is not my fault.
No, we had some good times, man. I can't lie. There was definitely some sketchy moments in my history at that point in my time in high school where I probably shouldn't be here right now, but
yep,
we survived. and we had a great time.
We had a fucking blast, man.
There was a lot of stuff.
I think we need to see the episode of just us talking about all the stuff. You
just
know what
reminiscing
I mean?
for an hour.
Pilgrim State.
Jesus,
Kings Park, the whole deal,
yeah,
man.
It was definitely questionable on a lot of accounts, but it worked out. It was fun. It buffed out. A lot of good stories to tell for sure.
What was your impression of high school? So you have this turning point, right? This is where you're starting to find yourself, and you're getting away from your brother. Is education on your map at all?
Negative. No way. Not in God's green earth. No, sir. I was all about saving my lunch money so I could buy beer from Stevie in Belmore for the weekends. That was
Don't dime out Stevie like that.
No, I'm sorry. I don't even know if Stevie's still alive, to be honest with you. But no, yeah, there was no drive for any sort of push to be, pushing my education. I had a good, honestly, I will shout her out, Lisa. She did her damnedest. And I really gotta give her the credit where she deserves. She deserves a lot of credit for everything that she had helped me with along the way. But first and foremost, my father had this was probably closer to like 10th or 11th grade. But Lisa had really did her best to try to keep me on the straight and path with school.
Oh, I know.
She used to pick me up at our lunch period at points during high school where, we're talking like 12:30 in the afternoon. I should have been I missed like 6 periods. At least it's we can get you in the last 2, she's trying. So
a freaking saint, man.
Yeah, man. She's something, man. I don't know how she kept that motivation to even try. And I feel
still to this day, she would still do that.
I know. What I mean? Yeah.
You call her and be like, I suck at math, which I do. And she would help you out.
She calls to remind me about people's birthdays.
Oh yeah.
To this day, she'd be like, "Don't forget, it's so-and-so's birthday." I'm like,
exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. She's the best. She's the best.
So did she keep you that boat floating, or was it kind of like a dead cost?
It was a brick wall. Nowhere. She did her best. Honestly, she really did. She did pick me up from school every now and again, or for school every now and again. In the beginning, she would drive me to school when I was actually going to school in the mornings.
Yeah.
Where I try and hit first period. She was driving me to school in the mornings. That was closer to the end of high school before we cut ties with high school. But before that, she was out there with me and everyone else just having a good time partying. You know what I mean? Yeah. We actually used to drink at Chelsea's house a lot, in her basement. You know what I mean?
In her basement and smoke weed.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of that. There's a whole bunch of people there.
Oh yeah.
It was just a time, man. I met Lisa.
Did you ever find yourself saying, "Oh fuck," what the fuck am I going to do from here on out? Or was it just, straight hanging out with your friends
at this point
and living life?
At this point, absolutely not. There was nothing in my head that was saying, "Hey, pick yourself up, dude. You got to move forward with this." I did not have that. But again, you got to remember, this is where I kind of I don't want to use the word rebellious, but I was on my own. You know what I mean? I was doing my thing. I branched myself out. I was getting the feelers out there for who I am as a person, and it was just not a good person. I just did not have that motivation to want to better myself educationally,
Totally. Yeah. So it wasn't more of an educational thing, not a personality flaw,
Right. Yeah.
So just in your head was just, I'm gonna stop, fuck school. I'm done.
Yeah,
with it.
pretty much.
Okay.
At the end of it. Yeah.
What, so leading into, the coming up to the end of high school, I'm there. I kind of know the story, but I want to put it out there, nitty gritty here. When did you, did you finish high school?
I did not know. So it was 2006 was my graduating class. At this point, I had got my license. I turned 18. Everyone had graduated. So me and Matt Long, very good friend of ours. Shout out, Matt. We love you. He's another guy we could actually talk about later on. He has his own business now. Very successful stuff. Came out of it, Yeah. So me and Matt Long decided that we were both getting left behind, or call them super seniors, and we were going to stick it out. I had about a year and some change that I had to knock out because I had really messed up in a couple classes.
Oh, wow.
And then the rest was 11th grade stuff. So I had to complete
So you
a lot
had
of
a
11th grade classes.
year plus of school
Yeah.
left to be able to graduate.
I did. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, I try to like light that spark in my ass and be like, oh, let's go to school now that all my friends are gone. This is going to work out. So, so me and Matt went to school during the day, and then we would be done after like fourth period. We'd go back to his house and we'd just chill and hang out and eat. That lasted for maybe 2 months. Maybe 2.
2 months out of the year and a half that you
about 2 months in.
Nice.
Finally, I was just like, I'm not doing this, dude. I'm not going back to MEPM. I hate the whole setup with high school. I don't like the hours. I'm just going to go get my GED. Well, my dad was not happy about that. I mean,
I remember that.
Really
I remember that conversation.
Yeah. He didn't really have much to, what is he going to say? He has to say it. He's my dad. He wants the best for me. He had to, put his 2 cents in, but I didn't care. I know everything. I'm 18.
I'm skateboarding, man.
Do you feel my shins? They're all beat up. They're scarred from all the hardcore skateboarding. But yeah, I was 18. What does anyone else know when you're 18? You know everything. So
shit. You think you do, but you don't.
Yeah, you don't know anything. you don't know a single iota about anything. But yeah. So
here you are. 2 months in, gung ho. Lisa's driving you to school. I remember this whole situation. Lighter under your ass is going, and then
yep,
it stopped.
We left school one day. We were sitting in Matt's driveway, and I was just like, I'm not going to school tomorrow. I'm just not going to do that anymore.
Done.
Yeah. I don't know how, honestly, I have no idea how my mom did not get in trouble for me not going to school as much as I did not go to school. Very shocking, but
yeah,
it was weird, man. Cause like there were, I went in and took my Regents exams. For anyone that's not familiar, it's the yearly exams to, I guess, assess how you are as a student. If you pass, whatever. And I killed those exams. Yeah. I killed them. I never went to school, and I took those exams and I did good. I don't understand why. I don't know.
So was that kind of like a drive for you to be like, I don't really need school, or was that just, I could still go, whatever, no big deal? No,
it was more of a, why the hell am I waking up to take some stupid test? I don't know. Don't wake me up this early,
I think the underlying problem here was the waking up, right?
I hate the morning. I'm not a morning person.
Are you a morning person now, or no? You're still.
I am comfortable waking up earlier.
Forced by 2 minions.
Yes. Crying from across the house is the ultimate wake up alarm.
There it is.
Frantically running.
Did you have any other reasons why like school just wasn't working out? Did you embarrassment, upset about, parents, how your life was prior to that? Or is it just kind of just found the group of guys and I wanted to hang out?
There's always been, and there always will be, that time in your life where where you stand in the big scheme of things. You know what I mean? Where you come to fruition that you are not equal to those people, Did it have a play in how I acted? Maybe subconsciously. Did I feel out of place a lot? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I think it kind of also drove to how I am as a human being today. I'm an extrovert, I'm out there. So I didn't have anything else to offer. So besides being, a jackass in person, like what else am I going to do for my friends, So I knew that I had to do something to be with other people like that. You know what I mean? So like I was saying, so I had to be like an extrovert. I had to be out there. I was shy, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know, I wasn't tight. I didn't grow up with these kids like before high school like that. Like there was a lot of kids that I did not know. Yeah. That went to other elementary schools, and middle school. So it was just, it was hard, man. I found a couple of people along the way that, that kind of took me in, one of them was like very wealthy. So I used to go to his house and he used to have the best snacks, and his parents probably knew that I was a poor kid and they were felt bad for me. You know, they fed me.
Oh shit, here comes the poor kid again.
Yeah, damn it, he's here again. Stinky bitch. Like
he's stealing ho-hos.
It was no question, like just based on my appearance, there was no question of, you know, if my family had money. There was not any money there. So, and
just, you know, the area we lived in, man, was flashy, man. You know, I remember
bougie is what they say.
Super bougie. It was just, you know, if you weren't driving a brand new BMW in high school, you were not the in crowd. You know what I mean? No. And those lines were huge, right? Like, you know, you didn't fit in the crowd if you weren't, you know, didn't have that kind of stuff. So there was a very big line in the sand there. So, you know, that kind of contributed to where we end up going, you know what I mean?
Right.
So true. So 2 months in, you and Matt are sitting in the driveway, probably in his Civic EK hatch, I would guess.
It was, I think it was EG at that point.
EG?
Or, no, I'm sorry, EF. He had
EF, the square body.
Yep.
Talk me through it. What was the plan? What was your plan at that point?
So at this point, I was dating somebody who I will leave unnamed.
Good choice.
And yeah, so I'm gonna. So at this point, I'm 18. I had the idea in my head that I wanted to go into the military. That was a set thing for me when I turned 18. I'm like, my girlfriend at the time, going off to college and bettering herself. And at this point is kind of where I really saw that, oh shit, you know, I'm behind the curve. All my friends are going to college. I'm going to be that guy. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. So in my head, I'm like, I got to do something. I'm going to join the Marines. Nope. I did not join the Marine Corps. That was my initial instinct. Like my first initial thought towards a forward moving positive direction was joining the Marines when I was 18.
I think that conversation came up between us around that same time, right?
Yes.
And during this time, you know, what was your motivation? I know 9/11 happened, right?
That was a lot of it. Yeah.
We were both in that kind of situation. And so why join the Marines?
So I knew that I needed that structure. I knew that the meaning behind the military for us, I could even say, safely to say us at that point, because I know it all affected us, or affected all of us, I should say. There was pride. There was structure. There was honor. You know what I mean? Maybe I just longed for all that, you know, with the fact that I was just a reckless, abandoned, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, I had nothing. I had no care in the world, dude. I did not care. I didn't care if I was living or dying. I didn't care where I was getting money from or how I was going to get it or whatever be the case. And I was a raging drug addict. Like, so I'll kill somebody for some money. No,
let me get some of that.
Yeah. I didn't have the direction. I didn't have that. My brother tried. I will say that later on in life, after my brother, you know, we really didn't see eye to eye for a long time, because at that point in your time as a kid, you're totally two different spectrums. I'm 18. My brother's 24. You know what I mean? He would have been graduated college at this point. He's like an adult, and I'm 18, and I think I know everything, and I'm just a shithead. And
you're still rebelling against it.
Yeah. And I'm fresh in it at this point. I feel like, you know what I mean? And my brother and me just did not get along. So like I kind of lost that connection with him at that point, to where he was just like, you know what, dude, do what you got to do. You know, I'm not your keeper anymore.
I feel like I heard that before from him.
It's probably it. Yeah.
Do you feel like, because he was forced into a hand of becoming a parent, quote unquote, that he didn't really understand your rebellious mode? You know what I mean? Because I don't think he had that, right?
No, he never did. He never, I mean, don't get me wrong. He had his driving record. We'll say that was about the most badass thing that my brother did when he was younger. He he didn't really care much for the law when it came to driving, or speed limits, I should say.
The signs on the side of the road, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure he had done a lot of reckless stuff that I don't know about, that, I'll never know about, or maybe one day he'll tell me and I'm like, what? You did that?
You did that? And you're yelling at me for this?
But he didn't get caught, so it doesn't count. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't think that my brother really did that. That's where I kind of like draw the line with my brother as far as like us being human beings. Like, he raised me, so I picked up a lot of attributes from him. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to like even like the physical stuff, like the way we laugh is kind of like the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys are fucking twins.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You look at us, we don't look alike, but when we're like together, it's just whatever. But I have, I guess, something extra that says, hey, you should try drinking, and you should try smoking cigarettes, and you should just, buy a motorcycle and do all this, all this crazy stuff that, like, my brother wasn't like that. He was more on the straight path. He drove Cadillacs because they were 4-door, and he could hang around with his buddies. And,
Exactly. Yeah.
He was more refined, if you will. But
kind of like Sager getting a, minivan to put all the boys in.
Just roll around all the boys in, dude. Yeah, that is definitely where me and my brother disconnect. And I think at that point in time, I lost that guidance because he had, I don't want to say the words give up, but he definitely let me take control of my own life.
And you had to, man. It was, moving forward to today, success. Like, you have a family now, and you're in a happy place, and so you gotta let the bird fly sometimes.
Gotta
see where it goes. But I mean, and you did it, right? So back to the Marines, I'm looking for this honor, respect,
Yes.
and it didn't happen. So what was the next avenue for that?
So a big reason why was I didn't have my diploma. That was a big kick in my ass, which is where I'm like, oh, I suck. What did I do that for? Why didn't I just stick it out? And so I think I probably turned 19 at this point. No.
I think you were older than that, weren't you?
I was 20. I was 20 years old when I got my GED. I spent 2 years. Some of that time I spent with you in the also known as
prison of a high school.
It was Harriet Eisman night school. It was a great thing. It was good for us. It was perfect. Honestly, it was night. So my peak of my day is when the sun goes down. So, I'm just getting started. Yeah. And it was good. It was a relaxed situation. There was no pressure. There was like I need you to write a 30-page essay on why you suck. And tell us how you're going to fix yourself. Like, it was none of that. It was just totally. They knew what we were there for, and I still couldn't even do that. I left Harriet Eisman because of the time. I was getting too old. I felt like I needed to really kickstart this. So, we had a lot of fun, man. We worked the jobs that we worked together, Jiffy Lube and the packaging company, and with your uncle, all that, we did a lot of really cool stuff. I cannot say that the time that I took to join the military eventually was a waste, because I truly learned so much about myself, and I met so many good people that are still in my life today, you being one of them. Yeah. I didn't, obviously you were there before the Marines, but I don't regret it at all. I hate to say that, because I definitely should have been more focused on becoming a better person by going to school and getting my diploma and, following that train track of where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to. But I learned my own way. Yep. I became
everybody's got their ways, right? Everybody's got their way. I think a biggest thing here too, like, talking to the listeners and someone listening about, in the same kind of situation, is that, you gotta do you sometimes, right? You gotta get out there. You gotta have a little bit of fun before you settle down and start your life, and we had some fun, man. We made some memories that I'll never forget, and I think that's a stigma that people, find themselves getting into. They're getting into this hole of, I just have no direction. But, there's a little time where you gotta have no direction to kind of figure out what you're going to do, And do you feel like that?
I do. I agree with that 110%. On the opposite side of it, I do wish I could tell my younger self to at least finish school, just the bare minimum of just finish your diploma, just, get the graduation thing. That's one thing I can say that honestly stings to this day is that I never walked for graduation.
Really?
Never walked. No, I didn't graduate from school.
Yeah, I didn't either. But that's something you wanted to do.
Yeah, so it's just one of those, you know what I mean? It's like you're checking the blocks as you're going. I went to prom. I didn't even go to my prom. I went to another prom at another high school.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did do that, but there's a lot of stuff that like you should just be doing as a kid that I didn't walk for graduation, and that to this day I will always be ashamed of that. I guess of my own personal, like, if I'm going to get on myself about something, it's going to be, you are an idiot. You didn't even allow yourself to walk graduation,
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, I didn't either. I didn't get much other than, I just finished my bachelor's not too long ago, and I got a cap. I got a cap in the mail.
You got one.
I was like, what the fuck is this thing, man? It looks like a pizza box.
Hey.
Man. I mean, it was like those little things, right? I'm the same way. I didn't get my walk either, but on that, I got my high school diploma from Harriet Eisman. So talk to me, what happened after you were like, nah, it's not working.
It was the time. It was all about the time for, I had the need to like kind of, I guess the word catch up is where I really mean, but I don't really want to use that word, but I was basically trying to make up for all the time that I had shit away by being an idiot. Where I see all my friends, going to college and they're waking up and they're working and they're going to school and they're like Lisa. I was with Lisa like every day, you know what I mean? And it was only the times where she wasn't working after school.
Yeah.
She'd go to school all day and then she'd get out of school and she'd start work. And then I'd see her after work, whatever. We'd hang out, whatever. We'd
until
go
4
get
in
food.
the morning.
Yeah. And again, that was another thing. Like she'd hang out until 4 o'clock in the morning. She'd go to school like 7.
She did that.
I have no idea, but it's like, I see like, all my friends that are being so responsible and they're, pushing forward. And I feel like I'm just like a dead weight, So like when it got to that point, ages 18 to 20, I was really like, I need to do something. But that 18 to 19 to 20, I was like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something at some point, and I was
it will come.
It will after I'm done riding motorcycles, or after I'm done, building this car or whatever, whatever it was. Like, I always had something to be like, but I have this, Yeah. And, I think it was one of those situations where I left Harriet Eisman School because I'm like, oh, this is going to take too much time. I need to get going, and that was just like my initial excuse to like get my ass out the door so I could just like figure it out. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to do something. So when I told Julie that I was leaving, she was very upset. She was very disappointed. That actually held a lot of weight on my heart because I was like disappointing her. She's such a sweet lady.
She's the best.
She told me straight up, cut dry. She's like, you're being an idiot. And I'm like, oh,
God damn it.
You're right, but I'm still going to do it. So thanks for the
You're
advice.
right, but I'll see you later, lady.
I'm out of here. Yeah, she did. She really tried. She did.
What did you, so you left, what did you end up doing then?
I left. I think I spent another 6 months before I decided that this was it. I had to get my GED. I had to get my general equivalency diploma, whatever.
I have no idea.
I don't even know. It's a little piece of paper that says it's a good enough degree is what people say.
Exactly. GED. That's what I know it is. But
it's a general equivalency. I can't speak. Diploma. So
because you didn't graduate high school.
I did not. Yeah. So I got my GED. I took it in East Meadow. I was 20 years old. And at this point, I forget where I was working. I don't even know. I worked a lot of dead-end jobs. I worked a lot of odd jobs. This was Jiffy Lube days. Might have been driving the Integra, I think, at this point. So 2007. I got my diploma or my GED.
So I have no idea I didn't know you didn't get your high school diploma. So talk to me. What is it like? Is it a test? Is it?
It is. It is. It's not something I'd really want people to do, but you know what? If the situation comes to it and you don't have a way to get your diploma through high school, a GED is it's a good segue to get yourself into college, because today's day and age, without anything college or military background or any sort of anything like that, a GED will get you literally nowhere.
Yeah, piece of paper.
Yeah, it's just a piece of paper to say colleges can say, okay, you've at least done this,
Yeah.
and then you can start from there. But so it's a big study packet that you can get, and you just study. It's just basic math, science, English. You'll break down paragraphs for the English portion, or you'll add, divide.
So it's just a test. It's just one test.
It's a written test. Sit down. I took it in East Meadow. East Meadow High School, I think.
Okay.
Right by the park, Eisenhower Park.
Oh yeah.
I took it in that building. There was probably 15 of us. I was probably the youngest guy there. There was people in there that were probably in their mid-20s, early 30s, getting their GEDs. There was a lot of it. A lot of immigrants will do the GED test, because obviously they come from out of state or whatever, or out of country, I should say, and they don't have. There's no transition for schooling, so a lot of them will come and get their GED so they could start their college. Yeah. Which was, I would say, probably about 60% of the class were immigrants.
Wow.
And I was the youngest kid in there, for sure.
How did that make you feel? Did it make you feel like a failure, you know what I mean, in that kind of sense? Or is it just, you got it done, you got it done?
It was one of those, it was like ripping a Band-Aid, you know what I mean? You got to do it. It's just, I had to do it. Yeah. Was I proud of it? Absolutely not. Do I know where it is right now? No, I don't. I have no idea. No, it's probably in the firebox in the closet, but it's not something I hung on my wall. We'll say that. When I was sitting in the classroom taking the test, I felt good at the moment, because I was like, I'm not the oldest dude in here.
Yeah.
And I also feel like, okay, this is me taking a step. This is me trying to progress. This is me trying to better myself. Am I proud? Absolutely not. Yeah. But for me, I feel good about it, because I'm doing this to try and make myself a better person.
Exactly. And you're looking for the next step.
Exactly.
And what was that next step? Did you have an idea?
I did. So I got my GED. What was I? Yes, I got my GED in 2008. November timeframe. November-ish timeframe. It was winter. It was cold as shit. I was driving the Integra, and I had no heat in that car for some reason. And
the Green Goblin.
Yeah, Greta. And it was just cold, dude. Cold. So I think it was November is when I got it. 5 months later, I enlisted into the United States Navy. The reason it was 5 months was because 2 of those months I spent fighting with a recruiter, essentially. This guy went into Freeport recruiting office for, it was it was Armed Forces recruiting station. So it was every branch. I walk in there. We had originally, if you don't recall, walked in to talk about the Coast Guard.
Yep.
So we talked about the Coast Guard. That was the same place I ended up going back to for the Navy later on.
Okay.
The first time we inquired about the Coast Guard was over there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that place because I used to cash. Oh my God.
Yeah, our checks over there.
Yes. Where were we working? Jiffy Lube? That wasn't Jiffy Lube, was it?
No, I think it was the job we had with my uncle. I think it was the fragrance. The fragrance warehouse.
Yeah, dude. Bath and Body Works. All the Bath and Body Works.
They gave us clipburns.
Yeah,
that
scanners.
was not a good idea.
They let us drive the forklifts. That was a terrible idea. Remember the burnouts?
Yeah.
The burnouts on that slope? That was hilarious.
Everybody's like, what the hell are these guys doing?
It was a weird time. But that was it. So I had my motorcycle. Shortly after that, actually, I got my GED, and that's right around the time I bought my bike.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I did not have my Integra. I had my motorcycle when I got my GED. That's why I was so cold, because I was riding my motorcycle, and it was November.
Hence the reason why I crashed in my podcast.
Yeah, I honestly think that was the same winter, if I'm not mistaken.
It was close.
Yeah, that was when I had it. I had my motorcycle at that point.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you talked about this honor, respect of going to Marines.
Yeah.
We spoke about the Coast Guard while we were together, still there. And then now you are in the Navy.
Yeah. So the Coast Guard thing, obviously, it fell off for both of us. We kind of just like, we'll see about that later on.
Yeah.
And then I went into the Navy recruiter because I knew I didn't want to be in the Army. In the Marines. You. I'm sorry. I thought my way of life was going to be better in the Navy.
You chose right.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. No, my big ambition was being a mechanic. So I wanted to work on an aircraft. I got this like weird fire in my belly. I'm like, I want to be an engine mechanic on jets, and I got all like excited, and the Air Force wouldn't take me. They were like, GED, get out of here.
You need a associate's degree, you fucking loser.
Serious, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I think you really needed college credits in order to get into the Air Force that time. This was 2008, I think I was inquiring.
7, 8, sometime.
Yeah. And Air Force laughed in my face. So I left and basically just knocked on the next door that was open. And, hey, who's in here?
Hey, who's in here?
Yeah, there was a couple of ideas that ran through my head, but I definitely was looking to be an aircraft mechanic. Everyone that I've spoken to up until that point was like, oh yeah, I used to be this, I used to be that in the Navy, and I was a cook, I was a BM, and they're working at like Starbucks or something weird, it didn't really take them very far. So the aircraft mechanic thing, I know I'm going to go through schools and I'm going to get trade certificates, whatever I can get my hands on. That's what I wanted to aim at. I knew I was going to get the most out of that. So you're
looking for a job that kind of correlated to outside world, if you decided to get out.
Yes. My initial thought, I'm doing 4 and I'm out of here, baby. Just need them certs. Just give me them certs so I can be on my way.
Yeah.
So,
but that didn't happen.
No, that was 6.5 years ago. Actually, so it was 10.5 years ago total. But
Jesus,
my first 4 ended 6.5 years ago.
4 didn't work.
Nope. So it was crazy, man. So before I even got into the Navy, so I'm 19. I am riding a motorcycle because I'm a badass. I'm Billy badass.
No sleeves.
0 sleeves. I had a spine protector.
Yep. I have the same one.
My brother hated my guts. I swear to God, he hated the fact I hid it from him. Amongst a lot of other things in my life, I've hid from my brother, which now he knows everything because I tell him everything. But at the times I had to keep it from him because he would have slaughterhoused me had he found out that I did the things that I did. So that was, it was just one of those things. But yeah, I bought the motorcycle.
Yep. You got the motorcycle and now you're joining the Navy. So where are we at with this? Where's your head after you signed that paper?
Well, I went through a lot of shit trying to join the Navy. So you would think like you walk into a recruiter's office like, I'm your guy, I don't have any, well, I did have a record, my police record for the driving record. Nothing major, nothing they couldn't, write off. There was nothing else. I just had my GED. So I was like, clean shot, boom. Nope. The guy didn't answer my phone calls. I walked in there. I talked to him. Yeah. He's like all excited, Oh yeah, good. You can set this guy up, as a number for me, you can get
exactly. And
I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I took the practice ASVAB, did all right. I did enough.
What's the ASVAB?
So the ASVAB is your it's an entry level test that you take in order to determine what jobs you qualify for in the military. You have a minimum passing score. You have 100. Minimum passing, I think it's like a 32 or something. I think I scored a 59, which might not sound high, but for the jobs that I was looking to get, I qualified and then some for them.
Okay. So you need to do this before getting your job. So I could walk in the Navy office and be like, hey, I want to be a fucking space cadet.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, that's really fucking cool, man. But you're you're more than half a retard.
Great dreams.
So you're not
going right off the pipe.
The Army's next door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if they're not there, you can call the Coast Guard.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I go into the recruiting office. I talk to the recruiter, and the guy doesn't return my calls. Literally 2 months. So I'm worried because at this point I know myself, and I'm like, you know what? The military is a bad idea. Just wait it out, So I'm like, I'm trying to keep myself motivated. I'm trying to move forward and become a better person, and whatever, just be a little bit more successful. So I switched recruiting offices. I drove my happy ass all the way to Hempstead, New York, which was from my house about a 30-minute ride up there through Front Street and all that. So not the best.
Depending
place.
on how fast you go on your bike.
Yeah, which was a big plus because the Meadowbrook Parkway traffic was horrendous getting up to the Hempstead Turnpike and then all the way down into Hempstead.
In a car, but not on a bike.
No, on a bike. I white lined a lot. So yeah, it was it was about a 30-minute ride with traffic. And I walked into that recruiting office. That was the only other place that was the local spots to me that I could try and get into the Navy. So I go in there and it was like a totally different atmosphere. I walked in and I'm like, hey guys, I want to join the Navy. They're like, wow, you walked into us? Like you came to us? And I'm like, yeah,
I didn't go to your school to pull you out.
Let's do it. What do you got so far? I'm like, I have a GED and I have a really bad driving record. And they're like, we can work with that. We can work with that.
Crickets.
Yeah. Oh my God. So my recruiter is like, okay, we're going to schedule for the ASVAB again because the guy never picked me up to go take my ASVAB test.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Really, really good taste in my mouth for the Navy right off the rip. So definitely discouraging. But I scheduled for my ASVAB test, which was over in Fort Dix in New Jersey. The recruiter drove me out there. The lady, she was an MU3. She was a musician, third class petty officer. Yeah. Which is a very rare thing that you see in the Navy, but I actually watched her sing, where were we? Times Square. She sang in Times Square. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
You were around greatness.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was cool, man. But she drove me out to Fort Dix late, so we sped a lot in the government vehicle. And I'm like, I mean, we're in the Govey and the G6 and the Pontiac, and we're cruising down the Belt Parkway at like 110 miles an hour.
And you're like, I'm in.
It's fine. We have government plates, and I'm like, oh yeah. Yes. Like, how do I get one of these?
Sign me up twice.
Can I take this after I pass? Right? Can I take this home? And so she gets me there. I take the electronic exam. I didn't like that. Did not end well. No, I did not score as well as I wanted to. Rescheduled to take the written exam, which they told me ahead of time, hey, they only have spots open for electronics. So if you want to get in, which you do, obviously, I was like, I'm pushing. We got to take the electronic exam. I said, okay, well, it's, at first I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal. They're like, yeah, just a heads up.
It's a little bit harder.
Sucks. Yeah, it's a little bit harder. The layout kind of sucks, blah, blah, whatever. So I didn't bomb it. I passed, but I didn't pass with enough that I needed to become into that window for the jobs that I was looking for. Okay. So they rescheduled me. I went back about a week later and I took the second written exam and I passed with the numbers that I needed. I got a 59, I think it was, on my ASVAB exam. And that opened up all the doors I needed to every job that I would want. So
then how did you throw the dart at the wall for your current position?
So where I'm at, I am an aviation structural mechanics safety equipment specialist, right? So I work on
alphabet soup.
Yes, exactly. The Navy does it that way. It's really, it's a weird thing. But so my job title is called AME. Okay.
And you work on what? What is it?
I work on ejection seats. The primary mission for that job is ejection seats. Primary duties is working on ejection seats. Replace explosives, do the daily maintenance on it, test and checks, all that fun stuff. Also with that, come to find out later on after I chose my job that there's like 13 other subsystems that we cover on the aircraft. And I'm like,
perfect.
Cabin pressurization, radar liquid cooling, waveguide pressurization, everything. ECS, which is environmental control systems. It's basically like the air conditioning for the jet. Okay. So we take like engine bleed air is what they call it. It's like really hot air off the engine and we cool it down and we turn it into cabin pressure and air conditioning.
Look at that.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But when I got the job, when I chose the job, because actually I wanted to be an AD, which is a machinist mate.
Okay.
They work on the engines. Naturally.
Gotcha.
I'm like, I want to be,
I want to put a fucking turbo on it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know how it is. So I'm like, instinctively, I'm like, oh, engines. I want to do that.
Yep.
They didn't have it available. So when you join the military, or at least in the Navy, there has to be only certain jobs are available at certain times.
Yep.
So the first time I went in there, they were like, yeah, dude, just choose your job and we could change in boot camp. No.
Don't ever fucking do that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So they're like, you want to leave soon, right? I'm like, yeah. But they're like, okay, just go in there, choose a job, and then you can cross rate later. And I'm like, no, I'm good. No. I've heard these stories. Absolutely not.
I'm looking you right in the eyes, guy.
Yeah. There was no way. So I go in there the first time. And I actually like physically got up out of my chair to leave. Because they were like, no, we don't have any aviation positions open. They offered me BM, which is like a janitor for the ship. It's like the best way to describe it for like people that don't know. They do a lot of, ship maintenance and stuff like that. It's just like a general maintenance man. Okay. For the ship, painting and chipping paint and other paint stuff.
Doing barnacles.
Yeah. They offered me HM, which was pretty cool. It's corpsman. So medical. So I thought that was actually in my mindset for like a solid 18 minutes. So I'm like, maybe, CS, which if you don't know what that is, it's a culinary specialist, a cook in the Navy. Hell no. cooking for all those people. Hell to the no.
No.
Not a chance at God's green earth. So they were like, yeah, that's it. It's cool. So which one do you want? And I'm like,
none.
Bye. Thanks. And they were like, huh? What? They freak out. And the lady was like, who are you here with? And I'm like, I forget the guy's name, my recruiter's name. I spelled it. I think it was like Hernandez or something like that. I was like, AT something. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I'm here with him. She's like, oh, you're here with, Eduardo, or whatever the hell the guy's name was. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, he's my recruiter.
Yeah.
What of it?
He drove me here.
She's like, oh, sit down. Sit down. I got you ticket. And I'm like, oh, this is how it works? You just gotta know someone?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all the A ratings started coming out. It's like AME and AE and all these. I'm like, oh, you got AD? You got AD? I want to work on engines. They're like, no, I don't have that. I'm like, what do you have? They're like, you could be an AE, which is an electrician's mate, which basically, you work on the electronics of the jet.
Yep.
You could be an AME, which, and I'm like, oh, what's that? I've never heard of that one. They're like, oh, you work on ejection seats, explosives and rockets and, you save people's lives. And I was like, explosives save people's lives? It's like the best thing in the world. Done. That's the one. That's the one. Boom. Sign me up. So I did. They were like, okay, well, here's the only other problem. You're not leaving until November. Mind you, this is March of 2009.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to.
What the fuck am I going to do for 9 months?
Yeah. There's a lot of time for me as a human. That's a lot of time to sit and think about, and
get in trouble.
Happen. Yeah. That was the other thing too. Yeah. Help. The motorcycle.
Yeah. So you're sitting there. She tells you that date. Did any second guesses come through there as you're sitting there, or is it more like, no, I need to fucking leave now?
No, it was done. I had the job I wanted. I was set. As long as nothing happened between then and leaving, I was solid. I was okay. I'll figure it out. I'll get a job, whatever I got to do. But yeah, I'll work whatever odd job I have to keep my nose clean. And, I got my end goal.
Yep.
I've made a plan and now I have to execute.
So finally, here we are. We have a plan, right?
Yeah. After all that. Yeah.
So you decided to, go into Navy. You got your job title, waited the 9 months or however long that was. Yeah. And then where do you go to? Where do you leave to?
I got picked up November 17th, 2009. I got picked up from my house by my recruiter. They picked me up in the G6 and they drove me to Fort Dix in New Jersey. From there, we classed up in our classes where the Army people went here, National Guard, Marines, Air Force, Navy. We all went to our classrooms and sat in our seats. We sat there for about 3 hours.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a nice little going away thing before all that happened. But yeah, we sat there for about 3 hours, and then we got on a bus. They drove us to some hotel in Jersey, and I had some random kid in my room.
Nice.
That was staying with me overnight. I'm shitting my pants. I have no idea what's happening. I have nothing. I just had the clothes on my back. It was
awesome.
very weird. I literally just got in the car and I'm like, all right, guys, see you later. Peace out. And I left and I didn't know what was going to happen. So
And
I was scared.
There you go. Yeah.
I was scared. So they put us on a bus. They bused us over to Jersey by the airport at this point. They put us up in a hotel, all paid for. And the next morning we reveilled at 5 o'clock, which for
way
me
too early
point,
for you.
For this point, I'm like, but I was so scared, dude. I was like, 5 o'clock. Okay. Yeah. I'm on the way down. Don't wait. I'll get the elevator. Just wait. I'll be right there.
I got your bags, man.
Yeah. I was so scared, man. When that alarm went off, the first alarm, I was up.
Game time.
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Yep.
Probably slept like 8 minutes. No idea what the hell's going on.
That's awesome.
I didn't know the kid. I'd never even seen the kid who I'm sleeping next to, like 3 feet away. I don't know if he's going to stab me or, anything.
You ended up sleeping with him that night because you're so scared.
Yeah. Just hold me. But it was funny, man. So we get on the bus, we drive over to the airport, we sit down on the floor. That was kind of demeaning, but they put us on the floor because we're recruits now. And then we get on the plane to Chicago. We land in Chicago. I got to boot camp that night at about 10 o'clock p.m. So all day flying, transiting and all that shit. So I walk into boot camp at 10 p.m.
Ready to roll.
November 18th, 2009 is where it all began. Shitting. There was a kid who got on the bus with us who had a mohawk.
Yes.
It was all different colors, and he came to boot camp with a mohawk that was like this. It was unbelievable that this kid thought this was a good idea to come to boot camp with a multicolored mohawk.
Let's see how it goes.
His name was David. I will not reveal his last name, but yeah. So I'm standing. So you get off the bus, they yell at you real loud, and you're already shitting your pants, so you don't know what the hell's going on. Then I got this like 6'4" Italian chief, all khakis, top to bottom, creased up, slick back hair stacked, bro. Like, what are you doing, you worthless piece of shit? Get off the bus, And I'm like, don't.
I made a mistake.
Oh my God, dude! I immediately was like, what did I do this for? This was the dumbest idea I've ever had. Oh man, but it was just I was happy to be there, man. Literally, I can tell you this. We could backtrack for a week or two. I was in court 2 weeks before I shipped out for boot camp for my 111 mile an hour speeding ticket in a 55 with a suspended license at 2 a.m. on my motorcycle.
Too easy.
2 weeks before I shipped out.
Yep.
I was leaving Sager's house and I got yanked by a state trooper on Southern State Parkway.
You lose.
I thought I was going to get arrested. It was just a bad situation. So fast forward 2 weeks. I'm in boot camp now. I'm shitting my pants. David is standing across from me with his mohawk, and we're standing on this tow line, what they call the tow line. It's just a line. Yeah. A line in the floor, and you put your toes on it. And I'm standing there, and I'm trying to do the 1,000-yard stare. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. They're like, everyone's like, oh, the 1,000-yard stare. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
I don't know what that is. Yeah, 1,000-yard stare. Oh, I get it, because they're all like, don't look at me, don't stare me in the face. Who are you looking at? They're all yelling. This is also, I can say this actually. This is back when the Navy was a little bit different back then.
It was when it was hard, right?
A little bit harder than what it is, I'm sure now. But they were less than cordial. We'll say that.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not trying to dime out anybody, but yeah, they were meanies, big meanies,
big ass meanies. So at this point, you're shitting your pants.
Yeah.
decisions. Did you make the right decision?
I did. I absolutely did. I knew even through all of that, all the fear and the anxiety that I was got, it was where I needed to be. It was because I was there, and it hit me because I was there and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't make an excuse. I was there. It was over. You know, I signed the papers. I got on the bus. I got on the plane. I got on the bus. And now I'm at the building. There is no turning back.
And you had to fulfill it, right?
I had to do it.
This is your obligation.
I had to do it. I said I would do it. I signed the paper. I'm here. I'm doing it.
So here's your first.
But I'm doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Pooping everywhere, but it's good. So, you know, this whole conversation we're having, we've never had a defined decision. You know what I mean? So this is,
right.
Would this be your golden decision of, wow, I actually made a right choice.
Yes.
I feel like I am where I need to be, and life's going to be a lot different after this.
Yes, 1,000%. It really hit me when we were having my going away parties. We had 3 going away parties night after night after night. It was a great bash, you know, throughout the whole thing. A lot of people came out. It was just a great time, man. And that is where it kind of hit me. The last party was in Belmore at a bar. And the guys had got me a necklace, a little anchor necklace with an eagle on it. It was pretty badass.
Nice.
And it was at that point where I felt it. Like I felt in my heart that I was like, I was emotional, you know, and I can, you know, one thing I can say that has affected me as a coming up the way I did is I'm very cold. I'm a very cold-hearted person.
Yeah.
I do not get emotional. And I was crying, if not on the verge of tears, that night that they gave me that necklace, because it hit me in my soul, dude. When they gave that necklace to me, it was like almost like a weight had been lifted off of me. Like I had done something, you know. I had made, I have affected somebody, you know. These people are coming out to celebrate me and celebrate with me, and all the times that we had and all this stuff. And it was like, I'm doing this, you know.
And that was kind of like a moment where you walked across the stage, you know what I mean? Right. That was your stage ceremony.
Yes, that was my star moment. Yeah,
that was it. You know, and you found it. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a great feeling.
So everybody comes out, you're ready out, you're doing your thing, you're getting yelled at, you're towing the line, thousands, you know, 1,000 miles there. And
so David's standing across from me.
Let's go to David.
He is just getting destroyed for his hair. So we're not allowed to laugh. You're not allowed to laugh in boot camp.
Yeah.
They don't know me. They don't know me.
You don't know me.
I laugh at everything. So David's getting this shit chewed out. And I'm just like, does nobody see this? Like nobody? Yeah. And oh man, I felt so bad for him, but I'm dying. And I got yelled at for laughing. I got yelled at.
Your first, since you've been younger, your first reprimand, right?
My first ass chew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
and then, so, I mean, like for me too, memories you build throughout your whole base training and, you know, friends that you make and stuff, you know, everlasting friends, just like David and his mohawk. But
yeah.
Moving forward, man. So there you are, you know, you got to, you know, you did your ceremony walk, you did your golden ticket, right? You're there, you made it. You get to your MOS, which is like your job title.
Yes. So graduate boot camp.
So where are you at right there?
So we go from Chicago, which you came to my graduation.
That was the shittiest flight in the fucking world.
You came to my graduation boot camp. Very proud moment. The graduation was great.
Yeah, man.
I will say that there is a more prouder moment prior to the graduation, which is kind of crazy to believe. But when you graduate battle stations, which is when you become a sailor. So they have the ceremony before you graduate. You have this recruit hat that they give you when you get all your stuff, right? And it says recruit on it, and you wear it, you know, everywhere. And when you graduate from battle stations, which is your ultimate, that's your hell week, if you will. But for the standard Navy, it's a 24-hour or 36-hour day, day and a half. But so you'll do, your workouts and all your stuff, your normal routines during the day. 10 p.m., you walk your happy, tired ass over to battle stations, which is a large stage that was built by Universal Studios.
Oh, wow.
It's a functioning ship.
Wow.
Like it's a section of a ship. And you do this until the next day. You go all night. You're all night. So you're out of there, I think, 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. the next day is when you're supposed to leave there. But that night, should you pass all of your tests, you get your Navy ball cap.
Oh, okay.
And they put on Proud to Be an American as they hand you your Navy ball cap and they take your recruit ball cap. And at that moment is when I cried. I cried
You made it.
like a baby. But it was, everyone started crying, man. Even the instructors were emotional with us, or not our instructors, our RDCs, our recruit division commanders. I think they had they were really tied to us for some reason. It was really weird. They do this stuff all the time, but I think that we had made a big impact on them.
That's awesome. So that's again, another moment of you accomplished something, right? You finished what you put your mind to.
So we go on. So we do the graduation. We get to A school. A school is where the MOS comes in. Pensacola, Florida.
What a
down
shitty
there
neighborhood.
Just
kidding. That's where I live.
NATTC Pensacola. Second time I've ever been to Florida in my life. First time I've ever been to Chicago.
It's a different Florida though, right?
Yes, it is. Florabama.
It is Alabama through and through.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I spent, we're talking January 27th, I think it was, that I graduated boot camp. So from November 18th to January 27th, spent some extra time there because of the holidays. They're hold days in boot camp. So if you have a holiday, that day does not count towards your boot camp days. So November for Thanksgiving, December, Christmas, New Year's, Black Friday, I believe was a national holiday. They all the time. It was insane, dude. I swear to God, it felt like every optional holiday, they were like, oh, hold day. Sorry. Holding.
Hold off. You're all the way off.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
So you have all these days you got to make. Did you stay in Chicago for this?
Oh yeah. I was there. It's just a normal day for us, but it's free, a free day for us to get beat off schedule, essentially is what it is. So, they'll do a lot of, training days where we actually get into the books and we're doing all that stuff on these whole days. But what'll happen is they don't count it, is essentially what it is. So we did that for about an extra week and some change or whatever. I ended up graduating. I think it was January 27th. I graduated. Grad and go is what they call it, where you graduate from boot camp and then you go directly out. My family came, you came to see us and or to see me. And
once again, if you didn't hear me the first time, that flight sucked.
And then, we go and get on a plane 2 days later, whatever. And I end up going down to NATSE, Pensacola. That was our training facility for anything aviation, Navy wide. You're going to go to Pensacola at some point. That's our training. That's where our schoolhouses are and everything like that. So
how long was that training?
I was there for 12 weeks, spent 6 weeks. It was about 3 months. I was there for 6 weeks, just hanging out in a student status, to where I was doing basic stuff around the barracks and, cleaning. And then you enjoy Pensacola if you can do that. And then you start class. As soon as you class up, you got about 6 weeks left. You do your 6 weeks worth of training, and then you go to your first command. You choose your orders at your schoolhouse, and then you go to your first command out of there.
So where was your Did you, is it like a wish list? Is it a choice? How does that work?
So it all depends on how you rank in the class itself. If you scored number one in the class, if you were top of your class, which my class consisted of 8 people, in my classroom, which they have multiple classrooms going on. But my classroom was 8 people. So all I had to do was rank by those 8 people. I didn't do very well. I think I ranked 4th. I was right in the middle. The guy who ranked first was a reserve. So he just left there and went home back to Kansas or wherever the hell he was from. That was cool. Bitch. Yeah. So that knocked off one set of orders we didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
It was really annoying. So one of my good buddies that I still talk to this day, Dan McVeigh, he was right in front of me. And then, there was this girl that beat me by 0.0 something points.
Oh no.
This one girl got the first pick after the reserve kid. Whiz. She was a whiz. She's out of the Navy now.
Oh boy.
Dan, my buddy Dan, got 2nd place. This chick got 3rd place.
By points.
I got by 0.0 points. And then I got 4th place. So I was 4th to pick. So it destroyed my life because I'm like, I joined the Navy to travel, right? So I'm like, I don't know what the hell I want to do for orders. We get to choose one, whatever. They give us 8 sets of orders, and then the first person chooses, and whatever's left, you guys choose out of those.
Yeah. You fight for the death.
Yeah, pretty much. So my buddy, he ended up choosing Virginia Beach at a shore command, so at a training squadron. And then the girl in front of me the girl in front of him chose Hawaii. That was the first set of orders that she saw. She's like, boom, I want to go to Hawaii.
Good choice.
So my buddy chose Virginia. There was one more set of orders to Hawaii.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, this girl that was right in front of me was friends with the other girl. And she's like, I don't know what I want to do. She's like, Virginia is really close to my house. I could totally go home and see my parents all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you should do that. Your parents probably miss you. Oh God, they're probably so worried. Miss you so hard. You just got to get home. Get over to Virginia where you belong.
Yeah.
You need that. Don't even worry about the Hawaii orders. And the other girl's like, what? Absolutely not. You're coming to Hawaii with me. And she's like, okay. And then she chose Hawaii orders, and I was like, first heartbreak.
Virginia Beach. Here we are.
I'm going to Virginia Beach. And it was great. I got to my first command in April of 2010.
Nice. And so move the family up there. What's your status right now?
At this point, I am a single bachelor.
Ready to mingle.
Roaming the streets of Virginia Beach.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, living in the barracks, man. Living in the barracks.
Barracks life. Barrack rat over here.
Horrible. Not really horrible. I can't say it was horrible. It was like a low-down college dorm. So I had my own room. I had a common area, and then my roommate had his own room. So it was nice.
Yeah, that's what we had. We had the same thing. Mine wasn't as spiffy probably as your guys' was, but it's Army,
I had a mini fridge and had a TV. It did come with a TV, and the mini fridge was not supposed to be there. And my room inspector guy was pretty cool. And he was like, hey dude, I knew the guy who used to live here. Move that mini fridge into the locker when we do our inspection. And I'm like, no doubt.
Done.
Got it.
That's awesome.
He left it there. It was pretty cool.
Did you enjoy Virginia Beach?
I loved it. I really did. There was a lot going on there that I did not realize was going on until I left. It was a great place.
Car City, right?
Car scene was awesome. Still is awesome to this day, I hear. Met so many cool people, so many good people, man, that I missed dearly out of Virginia. A lot of my friends, obviously the military, we all, scatter like cockroaches.
Yeah.
But I spent almost 8 years there.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I did my first tour there at VFA 106. I was at a training command. Worked on F-18 Alpha through Delta, so Legacy Hornets is what they call them.
Okay,
they are the flying turds of the Navy. They are so old. They are so beat. Analog everything, barely digital. Very old school.
Wow.
Yeah, we're flying
Straight
8
Goose and
miles.
Maverick stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no joke. Like right after the Tomcat, these things came
Yeah.
out. Actually, they were both the Legacy Hornet and the Tomcat flew together. They were both
wow.
at the same time era. So, yeah.
Here you are. Here
Yeah.
you are. Welcome
So,
to the Navy. Here's
dude,
the slowest.
Yeah. My first, my third day there, I think it was. We have these things called PIMAs. They're computers or laptops. They're like sturdy laptops you could take out to the flatline. Rubber keys, so they're waterproof and
like
touchscreen.
tough books.
Tough books, exactly what it is. Silver and black.
Yep.
Tough books, yeah. So we use those for our publications to tell us how to do maintenance. You know, it's like a step-by-step on everything, right? So my chain of command, my E5s and E4s that are in charge of me, because I'm an E2 at this point. I'm Airman Apprentice,
man.
McKenna, little guy.
Look at this little turd over here.
Little nugget, man. I was a little nugget. I just like not a care in the world. Still had acne. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was great. So they taught me the hard way, man. There was no love. There was no love. It was very cut dry. I don't know if it was because they saw something in me, that potential. As I kind of watched a couple of people get hand walked around, you know, like, oh, you gotta be careful. They didn't really treat me like that. And I, at the time, I'm like, you sons of bitches, you know, like, love me, just love me.
Please love me.
No, yeah, they were very cold, man. But it was cool because it kept that militarized ideology, you know, fresh in my mind, you know, where I try not to lose sight of that, because in the Navy, it's very easy to do that.
You didn't make it, is what you're saying. Like they kept you in check of, you're just here, you're a newbie, and we're going to show you how we want you to do your job. Exactly.
And I think they trusted me, was another factor. That's why they weren't on me. They didn't really they didn't ride me into the ground like that. I had mechanical experience back, you know, I knew how to work a wrench, you know, I knew the ideas of how, you know, mechanics, whatever. So that was a big step up for me. I could tell that right away. Like it was so stupid, but I had to do training. I had to do all like my certifications, my qualifications to get my plane captain and all those other in-shop qualifications you have to receive in order to be competitive for your you might call it an EPR, your evaluation reports.
Yep. NCOERs for the Army.
Right.
Yep.
So you got to get you get evaluated every year on paper, what you did, bam, 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 bam. Here it is, you know, and then they rank you with everyone else that's in your pay grade. So when you get these qualifications, you stand out. You know, you have to compete. So I had to do this non-resident training course by book and paper. You know, I had to write. That
sounds great.
Yeah, it was called Tools and Their Uses.
Oh man!
And I'm talking dumbed down a Phillips head screwdriver and how does it work and what do you do with it? And I'm like,
my 3-year-old son could tell you that.
Like, what is this? Dude, that book was like 1.5 inches thick.
Are you serious?
Hammers, bro. Hammers, wrenches, like the stupidest stuff. There was some stuff in there that I'm like, okay, I can actually take something away from this, because we had tools that like I've never even seen before.
Yeah.
And it all broke, you know, it broke it all down. But you know, ratchet. How does a ratchet work?
Screwdriver, Phillips, and flathead.
Oh my God, dude, it was crazy. So I had to knock all these, you know, stupid qualifications out. But yeah, my first day working by myself, which was day 3 of me being there, brand new. They gave me a milk crate full of parts. They gave me the Pima, the little tough book with all the publications to learn how to change this part that I had. And they told me what jet I was going to on the flight line. No idea where it is. We have 56 jets, mind you, okay, that we're maintaining. 56. They're like, okay, you're going to go to 327 and you're going to change out the turbine compressor. And I'm like, sick, you know? So I'm like signing the toolbox out. I'm like doing everything. I'm waiting for someone. Where do I go? I'm like waiting for someone to be like, all right, let's go, McKenna, you know? Yeah. And no one came. They were just like, okay, have fun. And I'm like, what, you know, which
one?
I didn't know a single thing. So I literally, when I tell you I was out there for 3.5 hours changing this turbine compressor.
That's amazing.
When I left VFA 106 in 2012, it took me 24 minutes to change the turbine compressor out, in, ready to turn for leak check. 24 minutes. It took me 3.5 hours.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts.
Hey, it's a learning curve, right? They threw you out to the wolves.
They did. And it's another thing, I really appreciate, I learned so much. I learned so much from that command by itself, just, maintenance techniques and like everything. And I honestly believe that the reason I made it as far as I did so quickly is because of that time. I grinded,
Hard work pays off, man.
It does.
If you turn the news on right now, you could really see that people are just looking for the handouts, and you can't do that. You can't live your life like that. No. You have to have some struggle. Struggle breeds, courage and fortitude, so that's awesome. I had the same experience too, just get out there and do it. So
rise and grind.
Yep. Now you're really rising, up at like in the morning.
I picked up E3 by time, just goes by time in the Navy. You pick up E3, and it took me 3 times to make E4 at this command. Boy. Yeah, so I had to wait 6 months every time I didn't make it. So I picked up E4 at that point, and I actually, this was 2011. I almost got out of the Navy early. I wrote up an early release request chit. To send up the chit, C-H-I-T. The chit. Early request, early separation request chit that I wrote up. I was sick and tired of it. I was getting beat down every day, and I was just like, I was not happy. I was not feeling it.
Really?
Yeah. VFA 106, at the time I was there, I appreciate it now. But at the moment, it was a horrendous working environment. It was tough. Really? I had some questionable people in my shop that were just downers.
Some shady motherfuckers.
I met some really good people there. People that I still talk to this day. That was 2012, was a long time ago, but people I still talk to this day who I worked with later on, actually, good people that I met. After I left that command, but there was a lot of people that ran that shop. I shouldn't say a lot of people, mostly one guy, T2, that really just made the day horrible.
Yeah.
I used to want to go to work. That's how it was good.
Yeah.
And then, things change, and I was like, I dreaded it. I hated it.
Now you're in a spot where you're like, I need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, dude. I was so tired of it. At the time they were allowing people to get out early because this is when, ETS, perform to serve, had come into effect into the Navy, and they were trying to downsize.
Okay.
So people were getting pink slips to get out of the Navy quite frequently.
Yeah. I remember this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, good. This is it. This is good. I brought my request chit to my E5, my AME2, my second class, and Crystal. Her name is Crystal. To this day, I still thank her because she is the reason that I am here where I am today, because she took that folder, and I guess out of maybe it was just being dramatic, but instead of pulling the paper out and ripping it in half, she literally ripped the entire folder. She's like, she opened it up and she looked at it. She's like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. She's like,
I'm upset.
She's like, and literally rips the whole thing. And I'm like, what the hell? She's like, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to let this place suck you in and shit you out. She's like, you're going to make it. She's like, she really blew my head up at the time, and I needed to hear it, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
So she motivated me and told me that I was being an idiot. I was like, I've said no to this too many times to where I think I know everything. And I rolled with it. I said, you know what? Fine. You win. It's your game now. We'll play.
I would have to rewrite it anyway, so I don't want to do that.
Thanks for tearing out the folder.
Yeah, I don't even have a second folder.
But yeah,
the only folder I had.
She ripped up my chit, top to bottom, completely.
Hey, man. So that's kind of like a, another point. Just, you got to a point where it was hard. It's just, you didn't want to make it to work every day, and
I was throwing in the towel.
Yeah, man. This one person, saw something else that, you were portraying, and she was like, not happening today. Plus, you don't have another folder. You're out.
Good luck finding another folder. Right?
Yeah.
She said that I was wasting my talents if I got out. She said that I was going to make it. And at the time I'm like, Took me 3 times to make E4. Like, there's no way, I'm not going to make it. I was like just dogging myself. I was really down on myself. And it was just a very dark time.
Yeah.
And then I transferred. Before that, I met Erica.
Oh, here she is.
And she restored a lot of light into my dark days.
Nice.
I can say that. Yeah,
that's what you want, right? That's what you look for.
Yeah. And it was the most upsetting thing to me is because I wasn't even looking for a relationship. Wait,
what do you mean?
Funny. It's funny because I talk about this day. It's funny to say this out loud, but I guess to the listeners, I should saying this stuff, but and she knows about this, but I had a moment in that time frame where I was like, I'm getting out of the Navy. I don't know what it was. I had like a dark lull over my head, like a stormy cloud over me all the time. And I hit this moment where I was just like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I really don't. And I did it was like a freaking building came off of me. I don't care about anything. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come home and I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't care. I do not care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you love me. Go, I don't care.
Yeah.
Kick rocks. I'm taking my car everywhere. Cause if I'm at a place where I'm like with my buddies and I don't want to be there anymore, I'm just leaving. I'm not saying bye. I'm just out. I'm living happy. I'm tired of it.
There goes Debbie Downer again.
Yeah, I was done. I was like, but it was like a moment of fruition where I was like, I'm free. I'm free of it. I don't even care anymore. I don't care about girls. I don't care about anything. I love myself, and I'm just gonna be a happier person. That's basically what I figured. And Sager calls me like 8 minutes later after I have this fruition. It's like, hey man, I got this friend that says she wants to meet you, and I'm like, what? No,
I just went through this huge thing.
I swear, I'm not even exaggerating, dude. I swear this was maybe like 2 weeks after I had come to. I have this epiphany of enlightenment, and I was like, I'm going to be a happier person. And Sager calls me and he's like, hey man, I got this friend that wants to meet you. I'm like, what does that mean? You're in Florida. Yeah. How did she even know about me? Well, I showed her a picture of you and she thought you were cute. So, maybe
that's a pretty long drive for cute.
Yeah. So, and mind you, at this point, I'm like about to hop a plane to go to Kansas for some training mission and eventually go to California for some training stuff with the aircraft. And I'm like, dude, I can't, I'm like literally about to get on a plane to go to Kansas. And whatever, long story short. So we start talking and I fell in love.
And now you have 2 kids.
And now, yes, this was October of 11. I met Erica in person. I came back from my detachment out in California for the 2 weeks I was out there, 3 weeks I was out there. I dropped a leave request before I even got home. And as soon as I landed, I got in the car and drove 12 hours south to Orlando.
Perfect.
Yeah, long drive. But I met her. I fell in love. I was in love with her before I literally laid eyes on her. I was something about her. It was really weird.
So pretty.
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was scary because I had never experienced anything like that before.
It clicked, right? It was just a clicking moment.
And 6 months after we met, we got engaged. And 30 days after that, we got married. And that was one thing I didn't tell my brother. That was one of those things I didn't tell my brother. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody for a long time. Eventually, obviously, I found out. But we got married after 7 months of being together. And we weren't even together. She was in Orlando and I was in Virginia.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was, it was actually right after your wedding.
Yeah.
Right after your wedding.
Because she was there, wasn't she?
Yeah, I brought her.
Yeah.
I brought her to the wedding.
That's right.
And then, I married her May of 2012.
Nice.
And that was, 8 years ago.
You got that BAH, you got that BAS.
Yeah, that was another, it was a big thing at the time.
TRICARE, you had me at TRICARE, man.
that was a huge, that was a financial change for me. Obviously, becoming married in the military, your pay jumps a pretty significant amount. I had to leave the barracks. I had to get an apartment. I ended up moving in with one of my good buddies, Hampton,
Yeah.
Preston.
I remember Hampton.
Good people, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I lived with him for a good while before my first deployment. He got out of the Navy.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember he had the same car as you.
Yeah, the RSX.
RSX. Yeah.
That was good times, man.
And then, so you're in Virginia Beach still. Get married. Did you have a kid before you moved to Florida? Yeah, right?
Yes. Aubriana was born April of 2016. So she was in school. Erica was in school a lot until right before my 2013 deployment. She moved up. We got married in May of 2010. I'm sorry, May of 2012. And she moved up in May of 2013. June of 2013, I deployed for 9 months. So I literally,
Wabam.
the longest I had spent with my wife in one segment of time was 14 days up to that point. So from October when I met her in 2011 to May of 2013, the longest time I'd ever spent with my wife was 2 weeks.
That's why she stayed with you the whole time.
Maybe. She didn't know me. We
now
talked on the
she's
phone.
like,
What the fuck did I do?
So she moves to Virginia. Literally 14 days later, I get on a boat and I say bye, and I'll see you in 9 months, baby. And I came back and we moved in together finally. It was crazy, man. So yeah, we moved in. It's our 1-bedroom apartment. It had Elvis, my dog, beautiful puppy doggy.
Dog.
Yeah, and we worked. She worked full time, and we just did that for a while.
She was X-ray tech, right? X-ray.
Yeah. She had graduated with her certification X-ray school, and she didn't get a job doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
she
tried
worked
to do it here too.
Yeah.
I tried to hook her up with a job, but didn't work.
Yeah, that guy was a jerk, man. Not that guy, not your guy. The guy that
BJ.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
It was upsetting because she couldn't get that position right away. When she finally landed one, dude, she was like on the moon. She was so happy about it. We took
now she doesn't even do it, right?
No, she has like a knack for food service, man. So she was slinging drinks at a Red Robin down in Virginia Beach, or up in Virginia Beach from here. And she was serving and all that, and she was making killer money, man. We were making really good money.
It's an industry, man.
Yeah. And then I dragged her all the way to friggin' Florida. After we left Virginia, we had our beautiful daughter, Aubriana.
Yep.
She was born April in 2016. And
she's a savage as well.
She is a true savage to the heart, to the core. But we moved to Florida, down to Eglin Air Force Base. I got orders out to VFA 101 after my VFA 32 stint from 2012 2017. We moved down to Eglin Air Force Base we lived down the street from you in
right down the road.
Yeah, I don't even think it was 10 houses, honestly.
Nope.
We moved to Santa Rosa Beach 2017. VFA 101 F-35s. So I went from VFA 106 from F-18 Legacy Hornets to VFA 32 for almost 5 years to F-18 Super Hornets, which I deployed. I was the leading petty officer there. I picked up E5. I ran that work center for 2.5 years out of the almost 5 years I was there.
Nice.
As an E5, which is common, not common. Learned a lot, which is pretty much the reason I'm now an E6 is probably because of my stint there. And the grind that almost ended my marriage because of how much I was not home. It was a very, very tough time for us, but we pushed it through.
Yeah, man.
So I spent 2 years in Eglin Air Force Base as a career counselor, not even a mechanic when I was down in Eglin in Florida. I spent 2 years as a command career counselor, which kind of is driving this potential shift in the winds for the Navy. Which I'm kind of working at right now. It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about, but at this point I'm at E5. making about, with my housing allowance, food allowance, my base pay, pulling in about 2,500 every 2 weeks.
Nice.
After taxes, take home. Trying to save, trying to do all that stuff.
Where does so here you got your pay, Erica's working.
Yeah. She transferred.
Aspirations to do anything else? Is there anything else in the back of your head during this time?
At this point in my life, when we were leaving Virginia, my aspiration was to be a homeowner. I wanted to buy a house.
Nice.
That was a goal. When we got to Florida, I had no intentions of living in the place we live because I really thought it was outside of our range. And come to find out it wasn't. So thank you for that. Appreciate that one.
You're welcome. That one.
Yeah, that was a huge plus. We became a homeowner. We became homeowners.
Yeah.
We bought a beautiful house. I love that house. We miss it dearly. But that was it really. As far as my career was concerned, the military has a weird way about it, as you can probably attest to. It's like once you're there, it's like if you're not staying there, you're like, I don't want to say blackballed, but like nobody really. That's kind of hard to explain.
There's like no push to do anything better.
There's not. You're just there. So it's just like, when are you re-enlisting? It's not like, are you going to re-enlist or not? It's like, oh, so when are you re-enlisting, bro? Or like, when's your date for, re-upping or whatever? There's no like, are you going to stay? Are you going to go?
Yeah.
Like, there's none of that. It's just, you always assume it's just, oh, my re-enlistment's coming up, because you just, it's just there. Just one after another. So.
Did you, so when you were here, you did 2 years ish, right? It was just a 2-year stint.
2 years.
And then, at this time, I know you saw my ass struggling with my business.
I saw you struggling towards greatness though. You were struggling, but you were struggling for good reasons. You built yourself an empire. It
was hard, but
it was motivating.
Did you, at that time, I know, go forward 2 years. Now you're in Texas.
Yes. Yeah.
But I remember having a conversation with you when you first moved down about potentially getting into a business partnership with an automotive kind of style. But
I did. Yeah.
What was the push for that?
So honestly, I could say that a lot of it came from you. You're motivating and owning a business. So the times that we had talked about it, it was just like you just kind of jumped into it. You put both your feet in and you just went. And it was motivating. I thought a lot about your story actually when I was considering all this, because I'm thinking to myself, like, me and him are kind of in a similar situation at this point.
Yeah, totally.
Chelsea's working full time. You're working full time. You both had good jobs. You're doing pretty well. And I feel like we're in that position right now. We're like, we had our second daughter, and that was kind of a difference a little bit. Yeah, we're paying a lot of money in daycare, and the time it takes to raise a kid, obviously.
Yeah, to raise a human.
It's a lot. So that's about the only difference, really. But I thought about I met a gentleman. I had some work done to my car. Excuse me. And when we bought Erica's car, we had it ceramic coated. So I met the owner of this business, super, super, super nice guy. And it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, this guy's a very successful business. And he's starting to do another branch of this business with commercial window tinting. And I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, I have no experience in this shit whatsoever, but I can invest my money.
Yeah.
I can try and, work when I can, but I can definitely invest my money. And that is something that kind of drove it for me. I wanted to build a fleet on that side of the house, not because he does automotive, obviously window tinting and vinyl wrapping and a whole bunch of that stuff, detailing and stuff. So, but he's starting to do this commercial side. And I was like, this is a fresh thing for him. It's like, obviously he knows what to do. I can just invest the money. This is how I would like to be a partner with this guy. He's obviously running a successful business, blah, 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 blah. It didn't work out.
What happened with that?
I ended up working for him on the automotive side. So I have the gift of the gab. So he hired me on originally as basically sales. I was just going to be like a front end guy, greet customers coming in, schedule, services and stuff like that.
Okay.
And use my dashing good looks and my gab to try and, bring in good volume and build a nice customer base and all that.
Yeah.
That he had already had, obviously. I was just going to deal with all that stuff up there for him. So turned out that was not the case. I was in there working, doing vinyl wrapping and like everything, which I didn't mind because I love being hands-on. You know me. And for the listeners, I'm very hands-on with everything. So getting in there and learning that was like a huge plus, So some time had gone by. Mind you, I'm still in the Navy at this point. I'm working at Lockheed Martin, working with the F-35 program, and I'm an essentially an analyst, if you will, kind of.
Okay.
What I do is I collect part numbers of serial numbers and I enter them into an Excel spreadsheet, and then the Excel spreadsheet gets sent to Lockheed Martin, and we kind of bounce numbers is basically what I do. So, and in a nutshell. There's a whole lot more to it, but doesn't really matter. But
don't want to get into the thing.
security stuff. But so my work schedule there, and I was able to snag a second job, for the time frame that I had open, and not die in the process of working too much. Still home with the family, because this is my shore duty. I'm not deployable. I want to spend time with my family. So, but I like making money. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna get a second job. So I'm talking to him about that, and he's like, well, come work for me, blah, blah, blah. Well, as a human being, he's a very, very, very good person, man. This dude will take his shirt off his back for any one of his friends. Hard worker, man. Like very motivational worker. Just as an employee to him, for me personally, for mine, it wasn't for me. We'll say that.
Just button heads.
Yeah, it was just a lot of little stuff, man. It was upsetting, honestly. At the end, the crew there is amazing. As a unit, it's a really good place. But as a business owner, this person was just not the type of person I wanted to work for.
So you're looking at this as a financial business planning ton of strategy of like, maybe this guy's just not the guy to get into with.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm very glad I did not. Come to find out later on that he thought that I was trying to take half his business or something like that. He had made some comments to some people and basically immediately was like, no way, like absolutely fucking not. And I'm like, he could have just said that, because when I said it to him, he was all, gung ho. Oh man, that sounds really good. Then he just like hung the phone up and started talking shit. But come to find out later on. But it's no big deal. I still send people to him for business. I think his shop is a very high quality shop, and it wouldn't hinder me from trying to help him. We just didn't see eye to eye on a business level, and that was it.
And I mean, at the end of the day, though, you got a skill. You learned a skill. So not only did you, learn a business partnership, how that works, but you also took some skills with it too. So it's not a lose, right? No,
absolutely not. No. All good stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, so now we're here. Now we're at the podcast, right? So tell me, like, you're possibly getting out of the Navy here shortly, right?
Yes.
That's been kicked around, and everybody knows who's ever gotten out of the military early or not retired. It's a fucking shitstone.
It's scary, man. It's so scary. It's not something that you ever really want to think about. You feel like you should just do it blindly. Like you just do it and that's it. You'll figure it out. But I can't, because I have 3 other mouths I got to worry about. I got to feed my family, and it's just really scary, man. It's really scary.
Where's your head at with it?
I'm nervous. I'm like boot camp nervous. You know what I mean? This is as scary as it is coming in. It's just as scary, if not more, getting out.
6-foot mohawk. Just look at the.
It'll be me, dude. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. I don't know, man. I'm very scared.
Are you where's your head at? You leaning more out, staying in?
I want out. I do want to get out of the Navy. I
Okay.
would like to live a normal life. And when I say normal, I mean just not deploying for 7 to 9 months and not seeing my kids and watching my kids grow up through a computer screen. I don't want to do that. But again, that's kind of part of the duty. I signed up for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know what I got myself into. I know having kids is part of that. You know, I got to add that to the mix and I got to deal with that, but it's really tough, man. And that's the stuff that I think about when I start, playing this, kicking this bucket around in my head with, what am I going to do? And I think about like, I could stay in, man. I've been in for 10 and a half years.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm over the hump is what they say, I'm over the midway point, and I'm contracted till just, 60 days shy of 12 years. And I got an 8-year run left. What's that? One more sea tour where I'm deployable. And then I go back on shore duty where I just kind of kick it and, go to work normal hours or whatever. But it still doesn't, that sea tour, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got kids now that kind of notice you not being there,
Yeah.
And I'm in that same position too, right? So it's like, you don't want to fucking leave again.
I don't.
When, Aubriana was a little younger, it was fine because, it wasn't too an issue or memory wise, but now she's like a fully functioning human being.
we had Aubriana, April 16th, 2016. I left on my second deployment, June 1st. For 7 months. So
see you, babe.
Yeah, I had we had Aubriana 3 weeks after Aubriana was born. We moved Erica down to my awesome, amazing in-laws. Dave and Deb, they're such good people, man. That's one thing I blessed to have them as my in-laws. They're great people. That's super awesome. Supportive, man, top to bottom. They've never ever let us down. They're just always there 110% every time. But yeah, they took Erica and Aubriana and put them up while I was deployed in Florida. So Erica had some support, with the baby and first baby, and I wasn't there, and she should have been by herself. So so 3 weeks after she was born, we moved them down to Orlando. And then 3 weeks later, I got on the ship. After that, I said goodbye. I got on a train and I got on the train to the bus to the airport, and I got on a plane and flew back to Virginia. And 3 weeks later, I was on the ship for 7 months. Jesus. Right. And that's what you're not looking forward to do. No, right? I had to say goodbye to my 3-week-old for 7 months. I came home to this kid, full-grown baby, and I'm like, who is this? I had to acclimate back to life, like to normal America, and being home and being a human being, and then I had to learn how to be a dad. It was tough. It's
a lot harder than everybody thinks.
It was tough, man. I had some honest to God true struggles that I missed a lot.
And that's what you're looking, thinking back in your head. That's
exactly.
That feeling is what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's a big hurdle, and
that's sad, man.
It's coming up, right?
It's like a freaking like an atomic bomb is about to go off. You're just watching, waiting. It's no telling what's going to happen. It's scary.
Well, now that's why we're here, right? That's what we're doing here.
That's what if I can make this my full-time job, I will do this until I'm dead. I love it. I hate talking about myself, which how hard it is to sit and talk about yourself, but it's just it's like part of this process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Just ripping the Band-Aid. I said it again.
People got to know you.
Yeah.
People got to know who's doing this, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. And there is a ton more stories that we could have talked about. We will leave out because we are at 2 hours right now. And
another 2-hour session.
Another 2. I didn't think we were going to make it this far, man.
Hey, look, you got more than you thought.
You poked and prodded with the questions.
Yeah.
Get me going.
Yeah, man. So here we are. We're going to start wrapping it up. I mean, 2 hours is a good stint. I mean,
absolutely.
We, we're still, this is an ever growing situation that we have going on here. So, definitely room for more more stories, come up with some funny things that we've done when our youth. So
we could do, so there's a website called Patreon.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
what you do is you subscribe to that. It does cost money, but that's where like a lot of the extra material goes.
Okay.
So we can kind of do our own little side podcast stuff, like obviously, extra material, and we could throw it on Patreon if people wanted to help, donate and do that stuff. We could obviously get more into it. But
want to hear
that'll go with everybody. We will have our standard podcast that everyone can hear on Spotify and anchor.fm/Operation Journey. We are working towards Google Podcasts right now, Apple Music, and a handful of other ones. But Patreon will have our extra behind the scenes,
the hidden gems.
yeah. That's where it gets a little more in details and depths and stuff like that. And it's heading in such a good direction right now, man. I'm so excited to see what this, the future of Operation Journey.
That's cool, man. Well, thanks for telling me your life story.
Oh, dude,
McKenna.
Thank you so much for listening to me jab on for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Man. It was, like we said before, man, it's just like us hanging out, and a lot of people of our, a lot of friends of ours are just like, man, it just sounds like you guys just hanging out, and it brings back a lot of memories too. So it's fun, man. I mean, I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm waiting for the next one we're going to do. It's going to be grilling someone else though,
Yeah, it's going to be, I honestly am very excited for that portion of it. Like I love talking to you, you know what I mean? I love, us talking back and forth and hearing your story and telling you my story. It's all good stuff. But like when we get to dig into someone that we don't know, that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be like 4 hours long.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
That's cool, man.
We're gonna have to figure out where to cut it because we're gonna be like,
but I want to have another question, please.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
Let's wait until the next one, right?
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
See you guys later.